Knowing isn't a problem. Action is. You already know what to do. You know you should wake up earlier. You know you should stop procrastinating. You know you should take care of your body, your mind, your future. You know what habits are hurting you. You know what habits would help you. So why aren't you doing them? This question has haunted millions of people quietly. Smart people, capable people, people with access to more information than any generation in history. And yet, they feel stuck. Not confused, not unaware, just frozen between knowing and doing. This is one of the most frustrating experiences a human can have. Because when you don't know what to do, there's hope. You can learn. But when you know exactly what to do and still don't move, you start blaming yourself. You tell yourself you're lazy, weak, undisciplined, broken. Here's the truth no one tells you. If knowing was enough, everyone would be successful. Everyone would be healthy. Everyone would be confident and focused and fulfilled. But they're not. Because behavior is not controlled by knowledge. It's controlled by emotion, identity, and environment. And until you understand that, you'll keep collecting advice instead of changing your life. Let's be honest, most people don't need more information. They already know the basics. Eat better, sleep more, exercise, save money, stop wasting time. Focus on what matters. We've heard it all. Books, videos, podcasts, quotes. Yet somehow, the gap between knowing and doing keeps growing. Why? Because knowledge lives in the mind, but action lives in the nervous system. You don't act based on what you know. You act based on what feels safe. And safety has nothing to do with logic. Your brain's first job is not to help you succeed. It's to keep you comfortable. And comfort loves familiarity, even if that familiarity is slowly destroying you. Your brain would rather keep the pain it knows than risk the discomfort of change. That's why you can know smoking is harmful and still smoke. Know procrastination is hurting you and still delay. Know scrolling is wasting your life and still keep scrolling, because in the moment your brain isn't asking what's best for my future. It's asking what reduces discomfort right now, and action often feels uncomfortable. Action creates uncertainty. It creates exposure. It creates the risk of failure, embarrassment, or disappointment. So your brain protects you by keeping you still. This is why motivation feels unreliable. Motivation is emotional, and emotions fluctuate. One day you feel inspired, the next day you don't. If action depended on motivation, no one would be consistent. That's why telling yourself to just do it rarely works. Because the resistance you feel isn't laziness, it's protection. Protection from discomfort, protection from uncertainty, protection from the identity shift that action requires. Every real action asks you to become someone new. Every real action asks you to become someone new. And becoming someone new means letting go of who you've been. That's scary. So instead, people stay in learning mode. Learning feels productive. Learning feels safe. Learning gives you the illusion of progress without the risk of failure. You feel like you're growing without actually changing anything. This is why people consume endless self-help content but remain the same. They mistake understanding for transformation. But understanding doesn't rewire behavior. Repetition does. Your brain doesn't change from insight. It changes from evidence. And evidence only comes from action. Small action, repeated action, uncomfortable action. That's why the first step is always the hardest, not because it's physically difficult, but because it threatens your identity. Right now, your habits are aligned with who you believe you are. If you believe you're someone who struggles with discipline, your actions will match that belief. If you believe you're someone who always starts and stops, your behavior will confirm it. The mind hates contradiction. So when you try to act in a way that doesn't match your identity, your brain pushes back. It creates excuses, distractions, doubts. Not because you're weak, but because consistency feels safer than growth. So how do you break this pattern? Not by trying harder, not by consuming more information, not by waiting to feel ready. You break it by lowering the cost of action. Most people fail because they set the bar too high. They think action means dramatic change, a perfect routine, an extreme commitment, so their brain resists. But action doesn't need to be heroic. It needs to be repeatable. 5 minutes instead of 1 hour. One small task instead of 10. One honest step instead of a complete overhaul. Small actions don't threaten your identity. They sneak past resistance, and once you act, something powerful happens. You stop relying on belief and start building evidence. You don't say, "I am disciplined." You say, "I showed up today." That proof is quiet, but it's powerful. And tomorrow, acting again feels slightly easier. Not because you're more motivated, but because your brain is updating its story about who you are. This is how action rewires identity. Not overnight, not dramatically, but consistently. That's why people who succeed don't wait to feel confident. They move first, and confidence follows. Action creates clarity. Action creates momentum. Action creates belief. Waiting does the opposite. Waiting strengthens doubt. Waiting strengthens fear. Waiting trains your brain to avoid. And avoidance becomes a habit. So if knowing isn't the problem, and action is, what stops action? Fear of discomfort, fear of failure, fear of not being good enough. But here's the truth. You don't need to eliminate fear to act. You just need to stop obeying it. Fear doesn't disappear when you think differently. It fades when you act despite it. And the more you act, the quieter fear becomes. This is why progress feels uncomfortable at first. Growth feels like friction, like resistance, like something is wrong. But nothing is wrong. That discomfort is just your nervous system learning a new normal. And the only way to teach it is through action. Not perfect action, not confident action, just action. Most people wait for permission, from motivation, from confidence, from certainty, but permission never comes. You give it to yourself by moving. One step, one decision, one moment of choosing action over avoidance. That's how lives change. Not because someone suddenly knew more, but because they finally did something different. So here's the real question. What is one thing you already know you should do, but keep postponing? Not 10 things, just one. Do it imperfectly, do it briefly, do it today. Because knowing isn't the problem, action is. And action doesn't require belief, it creates it. If this message resonated with you, it means you're closer to change than you think. Subscribe to Daily Upgrade Motivation for daily reminders that real growth doesn't come from knowing more. It comes from doing more. Like this video if you're ready to stop waiting. Share it with someone who knows exactly what to do, but hasn't started yet. Your future isn't waiting for your understanding. It's waiting for your action.